Breaking news. In a 10-hour battle for a key Gaza stronghold, Israel reportedly fought Hamas in tunnels. After 10 hours of fighting, including in the terror group's tunnel network, the Israeli military claims to have captured a key Hamas stronghold. The Israel Defense Forces, IDF, reported that its troops had taken control of a Hamas bunker in West Jabalia known as Outpost 17 following gun battles, above ground and in an underground route, with Hamas and Islamic Jihad gunmen. While IDF troops are engaged in street-by-street fighting with Hamas terrorists in Gaza City, this statement was released by the Israeli government. Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said on Wednesday that his country's armed forces were tightening the stranglehold around the city, which is located in the northern part of the enclave. In the midst of the fighting in the besieged territory, tens of thousands of Palestinians have fled their homes and are making their way south. Suella Braverman's accusations that the police are playing favorites with pro-Palestinian protesters are grounds for Sunak to fire her. The Labour Party has called for Rishi Sunak to fire Suella Braverman for saying that the police are playing favorites with pro-Palestinian protesters. The shadow business secretary, Jonathan Reynolds, told Sky News that the Prime Minister should, of course, fire her if he did not approve of her statements. "Where is the Prime Minister on this?" he demanded. "Do we really think the Prime Minister approved of such inflammatory language? He is being coy and won't give us any information. We have to find out today from the Prime Minister. Did he sign off? Was he on board with this? If not, does he lack the strength to fire her?" A Home Secretary who is out of control, divisive, and inflammatory is not someone who should be Home Secretary because they undermine the police and, by extension, national security and public safety. The Foreign Minister of South Korea has called for a humanitarian ceasefire in the Gaza conflict. Foreign Minister Park Jin of South Korea said he and U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken agreed that humanitarian pauses were necessary in the conflict between Israel and Hamas. South Korea's foreign minister condemned Hamas' attack on civilians and said his country was keeping an eye on any ties between Hamas and North Korea after meeting with Mr. Blinken in Seoul. The United States has made it clear that it expects Palestinians to assume control of Gaza once hostilities have ended. In response to Israeli claims that it will be responsible for Gaza's security indefinitely, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has laid out Washington's red lines and expectations for the besieged coastal territory. No reoccupation of Gaza is acceptable once the fighting stops. No attempt to blockade or besiege Gaza. In a press conference in Tokyo, Mr. Blinken emphasized that the size of Gaza would not be reduced. Despite Mr. Blinken's suggestion that some transition period be necessary after the conflict is over, Palestinians' voices must be heard in any post-crisis governance in Gaza. There must be Palestinian leadership and the unification of Gaza and the West Bank under Palestinian Authority control. Israeli officials have stated categorically that they do not plan to occupy Gaza following the war, but they have not provided a plan for ensuring security in the territory without keeping a substantial military presence. Israel withdrew its forces from Gaza in 2005.